early morning. I figured I'd come out and water the pumpkin plant, give it a pail of water. And what do I find in the other compost pile but the culprit of all this digging? Look at this guy. I don't know what he's doing, or she. This is a giant snapping turtle. What are you doing? Are you trying to lay eggs, or are you eating this? You've torn that up completely. She thinks I don't see her. Look at the mess you made. Well, I'll leave you be. I don't know if it's laying it. Oh my God, there's another one over here. Look at this. This is our current leaf pile from last fall. And look at this. Laying eggs, that's exactly what's going on. Snapping turtle, snapping turtle. Oh, I'm not going to be able to flip this compost pile this year. I was just going to come out and clean it up. We've got a raccoon buffet here every night, so I usually try and flip it and clean everything up, but oh my God, another one. I did not see any of these, so camouflaged. This is a little smaller one. Look at this. I don't want to bother them too much, but this is crazy. 1, 2, 3 in one morning. I gotta watch where I walk here. So that is pretty crazy, I gotta admit. I saw the first one, I was walking up with the watering can, figured I'd come out and take a video. We've got this weird forest fire colored sun today. So I'm like, I'll take a quick video watering the pumpkin. And then we see that snapping turtle, and then that one and the other one. That is absolutely crazy. I don't know, we have so much land here. It's all sandy gravel, great spots for turtles, but they're obviously attracted to this compost for some reason. Maybe the temperature, I don't know. That shouldn't be giving off too much temperature right now. This pile possibly. That other pile is totally finished compost, so it's really not going to give off any more temperature than that weedy pile of topsoil would. But they seem to prefer this stuff. So yes, that is exactly what was digging this pile. I thought it was either the fox, the raccoon, or maybe a turtle. I really wouldn't have bet money on a turtle, but this is clearly the turtles. You can see that dig out from this morning, and there's a tail drag all the way down, so that was the turtle. Who knows if there's eggs possibly there already? I don't know. This guy here looks like he's having a munch. Would they eat compost? I don't know. I don't really know anymore. I definitely learned something this morning. Anyway, I'll give this plant some water. That was kind of a little side video with the surprise turtles, but it looks like we're going to be growing a giant pumpkin here and also some baby turtles in this compost pile. So yeah, things just got a little different. All right, we'll leave you be. That one is definitely eating compost. That turtle is eating compost. And I think it's really liking it. That's a big turtle over there. That's a really old one. Back over a couple days later to water the pumpkin, and we have snapping turtles. I think these things are here every day, so they're coming out of the river. It's that time of year. Water temperatures are perfect. This is a big area. I've seen a few, around the area, but they really congregate into this compost. So they seem to like the fresh compost pile more so than the oldest and then the 1-year-old compost back there, which we did see a turtle in. And there's been a turtle in this one because it's all ripped up, but more turtles in this one. And I'm sure people that are watching probably know, and I'm just guessing, but it's probably the warm temperature inside this compost pile. This pile is warmer than that one and warmer than that one, and the turtles seem to really get into this pile here. They love it. So I don't know if that makes their eggs hatch quicker, or let me know if you know why they like warmer areas to lay their eggs. So we'll leave the turtle be and we'll go about watering the plant. It's now made its way out of my turtle shield that's poorly made out of those dowels, but I think we can get this vine down. I don't want to touch it today. If you have a pumpkin and are growing pumpkins, Never move your vines around early in the morning. Always do it in the warmest temperatures. The vines become very soft and easy to move in the heat. So that looks a lot better. Once we get some rain here in the next couple days, it's going to ignite a lot more weed growth. So I'm going to try and stay on it this year just to keep it more presentable, and also helps the plant when it can get some airflow and everything through it as well. We are pushing probably 4 feet with plant growth, so it's starting to go. You can see it up in the air. I don't want that vine in the air too much, because if we get a bad storm or heavy winds, it can mangle that plant. So what I want to do is bring the compost up, bring the soil line up, and support that vine as it starts to curve down the pile down to the ground. So as the plant starts to grow, it's starting to send out these secondary vines, so they come out 90 degrees off of the main stem, and I want to pin them down as well. So right now I'm fairly defensive on a storm. A storm could spin this plant around and wreck it, and we have some hot and humid weather, so we definitely have a chance of a storm coming up here in the next few days. The one thing, the plant knows that too. It doesn't want to spin around, it wants to hold itself down, and it grows these giant tendrils. Pretty cool, and they go out looking for anything that they can find, and they'll grab to. So you can see over here, that's locked on there. They really hold well. They're very strong. Back at the compost pile with the pumpkin plant. It's been about a week since I turned the camera on, and we have some really good growth. This plant is really on its own so far. I haven't been giving it enough water. It's finding what it needs in this compost pile because it does hold moisture well. But it's just been way too hot and way too dry. I have to get a little bit more water on. I've been putting maybe one of those watering cans on every night. It's just not enough for a plant this size now. From the base of the plant to the tip, we're now at least 10 feet long, so it's growing well. There's actually a pumpkin showing on the main vine, which we're probably not going to keep, but I'll show you what that looks like. These poor vines are hot, it's crispy. That is a sunburnt leaf that's really struggling to have enough moisture. It has been a very hot year. I got to get more water on this plant, but I'm not really set up to grow anything substantial over here. I wanted to really let the compost do the talking and see what that plant can pull out of there, but at some point I got to get a little bit more water on here to help this plant out. This is the end of the growing vine coming out at us, so as that main vine grows, that's your key. You want to keep that main vine happy and healthy. At every leaf, it sends out a side vine, a secondary vine. So here's a good view of the secondary vines coming off of the main vine. I want to grow these straight out 90 degrees. And this is where I want to do some pruning. If I let this plant go, it's going to be just a jungle of vine. So I don't want any growth coming off of these secondary vines. Here's a look at a small vine coming off. This will be a third stage growth vine coming off. So I want to get rid of that. I just want this vine to come straight out. So like I said, I'm not going to get too technical on the growing patterns and techniques of a giant pumpkin. I just want to keep this pruned so it's visually appealing in a video. It doesn't look like a big mess of vine. But secondly, if you can keep your plant pruned, it sends all its energy to the pumpkin. I want to grow this pumpkin as big as we can and see what we can get out of this compost. So we haven't had a lot of rain, and that has suppressed our weed growth. You can see all these over here. These were where my compost pile was, and this is the problem. These guys grow and then they seed themselves with hundreds of seeds. So I'm going to mow this area down because throughout the summer I need some room for these vines to come down. I expect to have a maybe 700 square foot plant here, so I need some room to get these vines down where they're not competing with this other growth. So I will agree with you, it's a little bit crazy to water a pumpkin plant this size with just a watering can here and there, but it's kind of where we're at. I've certainly been light on water, and I'm going to pay for it because we're losing some leaves here with this heat. Sunburnt leaves, that long term is going to hurt us because our leaves are like solar panels. They're creating energy that's going to be put into that fruit when we get a pumpkin going. So this was your garden, you'd want to water obviously more often, maybe even set up misters on a hot day. But here I'm so far away from water and electricity, I'm not getting into it. So putting down a pail when I can. Hopefully we hit some of these storms once in a while. We've been missing all of the heavy downpours, so it hasn't rained in a month, quarter inch maybe over a month, so super dry for up here. It's been tough. This plant's doing actually really well considering, but if we get some rain, then you'll really see the vines start to take off.
Coming up next, we will hand pollinate a pumpkin.